This is a quick demonstration of a Philips Pro36. I've been trying to get hold of one of these for a few years, and luckily I managed to find one. This one is the stereo version without the microphone preamps. You can see a lot of black here. The belt had gone gooey inside. I thought whilst I had the machine apart, I thought I'd do a quick video so we can show you some of the sort of like insides of it. Inside electronically, it's fairly simple on the audio side. You've got two pull-out cards, interchangeable with each other, 2 meter drivers, and we've got a baseboard that connects the inputs and outputs, the heads and everything together. And then we've got the head block, which I was a bit surprised when I had a look underneath it, that it looked like as if it had 4 heads. You can't really see it on this video, but there is actually a blank head here. I'm assuming, I haven't checked the manual, but I think that might be something to do with pilot, like a pilot head. Now, the machine arrived with a bad belt and a bad left-hand channel, and unfortunately the counter doesn't work. The way that is a very unusual counter mechanism in this machine. Unfortunately, I've sealed it all back up again now, so I can't really show. But you might be able to just see, just from the video, just from the clip there, you can see a 90-degree pair of cogwheels. That's because the counter is driven by this roller here, which normally would be belt driven, but this roller moves. And so what they have is an elaborate worm drive to a cog. The cog goes to a metal sprung metal wire, which goes to a 90-degree set of cogs, which goes to a 45-degree set of cogs, which then drives the counter. And unfortunately, behind this worm drive, the cog that moves the cog that works against a worm drive is worn out. I'm hoping that I might be able to find a hobbyist shop that might have one of those that I could put in there. So we covered the amps. This machine takes a surprising amount of time to get up to speed. According to the manual, it's supposed to be up and ready within a second. So if I say, for example, put that to 15 inches a second and turn it on, you can hear don't know if you can see that, how slowly that's turning. You can see from the inside there a light disc, which is a which tells the machine how fast the capstan is going. And once the machine, if I turn it down to a slower speed, once the machine reaches the correct speed, a little light comes on. The machine is running. This particular recording, which is just a tape that I've put on the machine, this particular recording is at 3 3/4. Just about hear that if I turn that up a little bit. The recording is very low. That's because the tape that's on here is a 4-track, and this is obviously a 2-track machine. If you have a look in the back, I was very surprised at just how big the flywheel is on this thing. Look at the size of that. So we've got a motor there, belt driven to a capstan. The capstan has 2 discs to it, the main weighted capstan and the one behind it. The one behind it is controlled by an electromagnet, which I think gives back tension. And on the inside of that back ring there is a optocoupler. The optocoupler sends back information about how fast the capstan is turning, and it then regulates itself and how fast it runs. As mentioned, the belt went on this, and there's lots of black goo to be cleaned off on the inside of this machine. It's definitely been built with the mind of an engineer to work on. For example, the circuit boards here fold out. You've got 2 screws here, we undo those, the whole board flips out. We've got the main audio section connected by this one cable to the bottom. In fact, the only difficult thing on this I've found so far is to get to the counter, which is located right behind the big capstan flywheel, and I'm a little bit loath to take that out, but I'm going to have to do it at some point. And the other problem it's got is that under the head cover, which I originally suspected, is this preamp board And the preamp board has a couple of transistors on it, and I thought that the left-hand channel was dead. Turned out it was a loose connection. But to get to that board, you'll have to unsolder all these wires and take the whole board out. So some basic functions on the machine. We've got a wind function here. So we've got rewind, which on this machine is a little bit sluggish, but that could be because this reel is full. You put it into fast forward mode. So it's got plenty of power there. Put it into rewind mode. It's going to take a while to stop. Unusual tape tension mechanism here. We've got this sort of, I don't know if that's supposed to freely move or not. It was riveted in place. I'm not quite sure if that's normal, but it's an unusual sort of like tape mechanism. On the left hand side here, both rollers move. Same as on the right. Tension arm, which triggers the machine on and off whether or not there's tape in position. Also got a cancellation button here. I'm assuming that will give you sound on sound. There's not enough strength to pull itself back up again, but you can put it back up by hand. Not sure yet. We've got a reel size, speed select, so 3 3/4, 7.5 and 15. Main switch, counter that we covered. Now on this, it's supposed to be, you've got two levels for line in and line out. Now one of them, these first two central two are supposed to be the calibration inputs and outputs, and then the outer ones are the uncalibrated. So I don't know if I turn the volume control there, does it make an effect on the calibrated? No, doesn't make any difference. So not sure yet, but you've got two inputs there, two outputs. One of each is supposed to be a calibrated input and calibrated output. We've then got our record levels, and we would have our microphone here if this machine had microphone inputs. This particular one doesn't. Then we got the reproduction levels, which on this machine I found that it doesn't reproduce the line coming in, only what's going out. Haven't checked yet what these ones are for, whether or not they're recording inhibits. So that's a quick demonstration of the Philips Pro 36.